Welcome to Dan's Talks. My guest today is Mark Levinson, a man who's made a career of studying sound and how it is transmitted primarily over speakers and music and um, recordings. And he's highly regarded in the field. In fact, if you buy a Lexus automobile, it's the Mark Levinson sound system that's in it. Um, it's a different way of hearing sound. We'll get to that in a little while. He'll tell us about it. He's currently we're doing this podcast from Venice. I'm in New York. He's in Venice, and the reason is he moved there, and he was for a long time living in East Hampton, and I visited him at his lab and home in the city as well. Tell us a little bit about when you decided to move away and um, what you miss about East Hampton. You told me about it earlier because you really said you wanted to come back to see it someday.
Well, I love East Hampton. I had a home there for 10 years, and it's probably the place in the world I would like to live in the most, if and when I can do it again. Um, I I was approached by LG of South Korea in 2007 to be chief sound advisor for LG and upgrade their audio in all divisions, including music systems, home theater systems, televisions, mobile phones, and so forth. So I worked with LG for 3 years part-time, and then decided to uh, develop new audio technology because that's really what was needed. Working with LG, I got to realize a lot of things. LG is a $40 billion company, and working with them was really educational. And I realized that all audio companies are using 1960s, 1970s technology. Nobody today wants a television from 1970 or a mobile phone or a computer. But that's what everybody's listening to, audio from 1960s, 1970s, because that's all you can get. And I decided to develop new semiconductors, software, electronic architecture, and speakers that would be the audio equivalent of Intel and NVIDIA. And that's what we've done. And to
Did you move off to Europe when you were employed at LG?
I started living in Europe because it was a lot closer to Asia, and because I thought it would be interesting. You know, my mother's side of the family came from Vienna, Austria, and Germany and the Czech Republic. And I had relatives over there, and I thought it might be nice to get to know them and explore my European roots. So I decided to um, be based in Switzerland and see what happened.
And then that's when you missed East Hampton. Tell us what you like.
Well, I always missed East Hampton. Uh, there's no place like that. Um, and actually, East Hampton played a very critical role in my work because it was there that we really got the first way to improve digital audio. I remember I was sitting in my living room there, a little cottage on Girard Drive, right on the water. And I was having a phone call with my mentor, Dick Berwin, and he said, I think I've figured out a way to do what you want to make digital audio with the same kind of quality as pure analog audio. And that was the beginning. So it kind of started there in East Hampton. And that's a core technology now that we have, and we have a patent on it from the US government, but it started in East Hampton in a way.
And what got you to go down to Venice, which is where you are?
I love the ocean. And of course, Venice is all ocean. It also has a special soul. And, you know, East Hampton has a special soul to it. And so does Venice, Italy. And I just feel comfortable here. There's something here that uh, connects to music, to craftsmanship, to culture. Um, let's say um, you're part of a continuum. You're aware that you're part of a continuum here. Some of the greatest musical instruments were made in Venice. And I was thinking, well, if they could make those instruments in Venice, maybe I can make audio products here too. And decided to start making a boutique line of audio products here in Venice, handmade from Italian parts.
What I know that you're married and raised a family, and when you were here, you were married to Kim Cattrall for a while, and I got to know you then. And tell me about your family now and what they're involved with. Did you have a son, I think?
Yes, I have a son, Anton, who's 16, um, and he's living with me in Venice. Um, my wife, Maria, lives with us as well. She's not Anton's mother, but anyway. And um, uh, my brother lives in Paris with his family. Uh, not too many other family members around. My daughter lives in San Francisco with her two grandchildren and her husband. Um, and hope I'll be able to come to the States in the near future and visit people. I've been kind of stuck here just working really hard and starting up this new company. Um, it's not the easiest of times to start a new company, but it's going well, and we should have some really good developments coming up here.
Called you earlier. You were in Greece for a while, a week.
Yeah. Well, we there are stores all over Europe and other countries that are starting to carry our products, and one of them is in Athens. And there are also people there who are very interested in investing in Daniel Hertz um, because we're a tech company, not just an audio component company. And we have met some really, let's say, some kindred spirits there. I'd never been to Greece, and I always wanted to go, so it was a good excuse. And we have a lot in common. And actually, there are people there who know of my work during the last 50 years, and were very happy to meet me, and I was happy to meet them too.
Tell me about where you were born and raised and where you were educated.
Well, I was born in Berkeley. Well, I was born uh, near Berkeley, California, and I spent my early years in Boston and New Haven because my dad was a psychologist. He was in the uh, he was a professor of psychology, well, assistant professor of psychology at Harvard for 16 years, and then a professor of psychology at Yale for 24 years. And then I went to New York for 16 years. That's when I was lucky enough to discover East Hampton.
When did you get interested in audio? Did you go to school for engineering?
No, actually, I never went to university. I think I went for 2 weeks when I got out of high school, but uh, I don't really have any degrees. I never studied anything except music. Basically, I'm a jazz musician and also a student of North Indian classical music. Um, and my inspiration for audio was that I was going to jazz clubs and seeing musicians like John Coltrane and Sonny Rollins and Bill Evans. And I thought, wouldn't it be amazing to find a way to record and play back this kind of music so it really sounded like what they did in life? Because when you hear music coming out of speakers, it just doesn't sound like live music. And that was my inspiration for getting into audio.
What is it that you've discovered and enabled that to become um, a a success in really listening to what people are playing? And what is the thing you've added or on the current the patent you mentioned?
Well, first of all, um, audio components are in general made by companies that are more or less industrial. You know, they're like a kind of electrical appliance. Um, to make the best audio products means you really have to know what music is, and you have to understand what music feels like. Music isn't sound, music is emotion. And if you just have the sound, it's just noise. Um, to be able to feel music coming the way it comes out of speakers means you need equipment that can do that, and most equipment can't. And I've spent the last 50 years trying to make better audio equipment, but there was always something missing. And now we're finding out really what was missing, and we're finding um, how to work with that so that there's a lot more emotion from listening to recordings of music than there has been. It's a real long story. You probably don't want to get me started here in this podcast about it, but it really means looking at the whole, um, the looking at the big picture, including digital audio itself. Beyond the recording, beyond the equipment, it's the format, the actual digital audio format. It was introduced in the 1970s and never was fundamentally improved. And people always knew that there was something about pure analog, for example, LPs and pure analog tape, that we didn't get from digital audio. Digital audio has a lot of conveniences, and we like that, but there was something missing, and we found out a way to explain it, measure it, fix it, and we have a patent from the U.S. Patent Office on that solution. That's a game changer. It's not about whether digital audio is good or bad. It's how do we make it better? And that's the core technology that we developed, as well as a special semiconductor that makes it possible to make audio systems that have this technology in it.
I think you were telling me about it being able to produce um, the emotion in the silences that are between the sounds.
The human brain likes continuous waveforms. That's what nature gives us. But digital audio is not a continuous waveform. It's a non-continuous waveform. It's sample space, and um, it's trying to trick the brain into thinking that it's continuous, but it doesn't work. And using $14,000 health diagnostic equipment, we were able to measure this consistently with everyone. There's a stress reaction in the human brain that's created by digital audio. Um, and that's why people say digital is um, analytical or cold, and pure analog is romantic or warm. But anyway, uh, the process we developed is called C-Wave. It means continuous wave, C-Wave technology. And with C-Wave, basically it's a finely tuned algorithm that fills in the spaces. So it's between the sample space, it fills in those spaces with original musical information. It's very subtle, very hard to hear, but it's what's missing. It just puts back what's missing. So the brain feels that it's a continuous waveform, and it feels like pure analog. And that stress reaction is gone.
What's the name of the company that will be on these products?
My company's name is Daniel Hertz, Hertz, Daniel Hertz. Daniel is my father's first name, and Hertz is my mother's maiden name. Heinrich Hertz was a relative of mine, and he was the first to demonstrate the electromagnetic wave, which was basically the beginning of audio. And it also stands for engineering and for science. So the basis of Daniel Hertz is real engineering.
Where is it sold in the United States yet?
Well, we've basically been sold out in Europe. We're just starting to come to the US. Hope to have a small number of stores. But our production is very limited. It's all handmade in Venice, and we don't make enough to really meet the needs of a typical distribution network. And I don't really want to either. The real financial future of the company is in licensing to larger companies. This boutique audio is just for a small number of people who want something like that. And it's like a handmade musical instrument. It's never going to be available in big quantities, but people who really love music and would like to have a music system like that know who they are, and they find us somehow. I think that what we're doing here is not just making a new level of audio equipment, but we're developing the technology that larger companies can use to bring that kind of quality to the wider audience. So it's not just for a handful, of wealthy people, but it gives benefits to the wider audience and to the music community. One of the great things about the world today is we have internet, we have a lot of different media, and I see an opportunity to make that better so that people can really feel what the musicians are doing, what the filmmakers are doing, and experience it on a deeper level. And that's what this new technology does. So it's a very exciting time, and we're just starting to engage with bigger companies, and they're looking at what we have to offer. So it's just the beginning of something. But for those who are interested in what we're doing, can already sort of get the idea from the products that we're making. Should I give you the website address?
Sure.
It's www.danielhertz.com. And you can read about our products and technology there. Be happy to talk with anyone who's interested.
Do you have a typical day of what you do there in a typical day of what you do there in Venice?
Well, part of my work is in developing the products and getting them manufactured and working with our small team of people who build them, and then working with people who who sell them around the world, people who write about them. And when I have time, my great pleasure is to play my instruments. I always like to play music more than just listen to it coming out of speakers, and that's still my passion. If I have time to do that, and I would like to come back to East Hampton in the near future. It's one of my dreams, and I hope to have a chance to realize that. And I really appreciate the invitation and the opportunity to make this podcast. Thank you, Dan.
Also, I'm delighted to be able to do it. You're very special in this field, and thank you for being on the podcast. And I'll see you soon.
Thanks, Dan. Thank you so much.